we are going to kick our day off here with some green decks.
Green, nice.
Some green decks. Elves, Collected Company, Ross, Merriam, Maxwell, Paustian. Want to make sure we do get that last name correct for Maxwell. Because if anyone pronounces my name wrong, what do you get for Krempels? You ever get anything like horrifically wrong?
No, generally not. People always spell it wrong.
Ooh, how do they spell it? A? Is there an A somewhere?
No, L-E-S at the end instead of E-L-S. Kremples.
Oh, that sounds delicious. Kremples.
Yeah, nice pastry.
Just delectable.
Yeah. I'll order the Kremples, please.
It sounds like a crepe filled with something.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of hungry right now, so I'm digging it. Like I mentioned, about 110 players here in day number 2 of competition. We'll have a metagame breakdown for you. A round or two from now, Nick's got to go sort through the decks and get everybody an idea of what is here in day number 2. I know we got at least one mono white martyr deck.
You figured that out?
Probably not more than one of those, but we do have one of those in day number 2 of competition.
I'm a little surprised we haven't seen any affinity.
Feels kind of like last week.
Last week we saw a little bit of it, and a whole bunch made day 2. So that'll be interesting to see our numbers.
I will be interested to see what the number breakdown is for sure. Because, as you mentioned, in day number 2 of competition last week, we had 11 of about 70.
Yeah. In
day 2, that was affinity. One making top 8, but did not win the tournament, and we just haven't seen a ton of it on camera just yet. So, obviously, it's a very good deck. It continues to feel a little underrepresented, but maybe I'm just wrong about that because we just don't see a ton of it on camera. A lot of our named players here, he'll be in the feature match area, just don't play affinity.
Sure. And there are so many deck options. That's one of the, like, Affinity is a good modern deck, but there's so many other good modern decks.
Yeah, like these two in front of us here. Maxwell's going to start things off with a Forest and a Birds of Paradise for Ross. He's got a Razorverge Thicket and a Llanowar Elves as we are underway here in round number 10 of competition from the River City, Richmond, Virginia. Paustian with a Ghost Quarter into a Scavenging Ooze, into a Noble Hierarch, and he'll pass the turn back.
It looks like a pretty good start, but I don't think it's going to do a whole lot against what these Elves decks do.
No, if Ross's draw is functional, it's going to be pretty difficult for Paustian to be able to do much of anything. Ross is on a mulligan to 6 this game. He does have a second land, however, with Pendelhaven. Don't have a great look if he's got Company or Cord or anything else past that just yet, but he will deploy the Pendelhaven as his land for the turn. 3 mana, it's an Elvish Archdruid, and that's immediately going to put Paustian to the test.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. This is going to allow Merriam to dump his hand out next turn, most likely, as we head over to Maxwell. Scavenging Ooze is going to come across here for 3 with the Exalted trigger. So Merriam's going to fall down to 17. Does Paustian have a follow-up? He does have 4 mana, which means he does have access to Collected Company. And I guess, yeah, maybe. Or his hand's just really bad.
I remember the old standard with Collected Company. He just doesn't have anything.
Psygo.
Yeah, just unlucky. Oh, 5 mana up passing. Man, that's really unlucky.
Is super unlucky. Back-to-back turns with nothing to do. Here's a Cavern of Souls, presumably naming Elf. Devoted Druid. Devoted Druid. Which means that Elvish Archdruid can tap for 4 right now.
Yeah, a little bit of mana.
Yeah. And Ross has a Cord in hand. And now here is Company. Top 6. There's a Courser in there. It looks like a Courser plus a Souza. So Value Town is getting things online. Top card is a copy of Horizon Canopy.
Yeah, Maxwell has gone to Value Town.
Yes.
The real question is, does this do anything for him?
I've got bad news. Not much of anything in this matchup. Plains on top.
Free lands.
Yep.
Land drop 1.
That's right, gain life. Next card, Kitchen Finks. We're going to stop right there. It's interesting, this Greenwood Company deck is very much a metagame deck. I think the decks that it's good against, it kind of preys on. and has a good matchup against them, but it's definitely not geared to beat elves.
No, yeah, no way is it geared to beat elves. It reminds me a little of the rock deck back in the day.
Okay.
Where you can tune it for the metagame, depending on what you want to do with it. But it's hard to cover all your bases because Modern is so wide open right now.
Yeah, and this deck is so focused on beating kind of the top decks in the format that when it plays against elves, which is definitely more of a fringe deck, as Ghost Quarter is going to go after Rage of Urge Thicket, Ross is going to search of a basic forest. He's got plenty of basics in his deck. It is in a tough spot.
Yep.
I'll say that. Put it kindly, and that it is in a tough spot. Maxwell's going to follow up that Ghost Quarter with a Voice of Resurgence. We might see a response here from Ross.
And it looks like Maxwell is very wisely hanging on to a Path to Exile.
Well, if he has one, that's a good thing.
Yeah, he's not worrying about this Lord. He knows that the real payoff card is Zori.
Which is correct.
Yeah.
That is the card that matters the most. So will he continue to be patient with that Path to Exile is the question, as Voice has resolved. So if Ross were to chord right now, he would give Maxwell an elemental token. Ooh, Courser's feeling it.
Getting frisky. Yeah.
With an Exalted trigger, it's a 3/5 attacker. Ross is simply going to untap. He will draw a card. It looks like he picked up another copy of Court of Calling.
Yeah, that's really good. I wonder if Ross was taking a slightly slower route where he was going to chord for a witness, get the chord back.
Well, I think I know the route that he's going to take now, which is chord for 2. And he's going to go get Vizier.
Yep.
And so what this allows him to do is make all the mana with Devoted Druid. He says, I'm going to go infinite. I'm going to play Court of Calling numero dos. I'm going to search for Azuri. And I'm going to do this a whole bunch. And one Path to Exile is not going to be able to stop me from winning the game. Ross Merriam's going to win game number 1 here over Maxwell Paustian. As Elves very quickly takes care of Green-White Company. We're going to go over the sideboards here, and we kind of, truth be told, kind of expect this to be the result. This is a really hard matchup for Maxwell.
Yeah, it is. He's just doesn't have the tools to combat what Ross is doing.
3 Stony Silence, 2 Surgical Extraction, 2 Blessed Alliance, a Warship, a Whisperwood Elemental, a Kosali Pride Mage, a Jamoka's Command, a Sigarda, Host of Herons, a Rain-Up Excavator, a Dismember, and a Kitchen Finks. Not a lot.
Not a whole lot going here. Yeah, Maxwell can try to get him with the Worship. That's a card I'm definitely interested in bringing in. The Dramoka's Command and the Dismember can be used as removal spells. A lot of these other cards, I mean, the Kitchen Finks might just be better. It's a little more aggressive than some of his other 3-drops.
I do love that the big plan is Worship.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. Like, he doesn't really have much. So the plan now is Worship, and maybe Ross doesn't bring in some sort of way to kill Worship and cross the old fingers there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fine with that being a game plan. I don't know if it's going to work because Ross does have enchant removal, and you know the enchant removal can kill Courser of Crewfix. So we'll see. As Ross's sideboard has 3 Path to Exile, 2 Chameleon Colossus, and here come the one of fun ofs, and rest in peace, Stony Silence, Fracturing Gust, Burrington Forge Tender, Selfless Spirit, Kataki War's Wage, an Aven Mind Sensor, Nylon of Rhetoric, a Reclamation Sage, and a Scavenging Ooze.
Yeah, and a lot of this sideboarding is going to depend on what Ross thinks this Green-White Company deck is going to bring in against him. So I can see him bringing the Scavenging Ooze to make sure there's no graveyard shenanigans with recursive lands with the Excavator. I can see him bringing in the Reclamation Sage as just this insurance policy against potential hateful enchantments. I can see him bringing the Selfless Spirit that he can chord for just in case the opponent has some sort of wrath effect.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't love the positioning here for Green-White Company. You saw that first game where Ross was able to just do his thing, kind of
no pressure,
undeterred, no pressure, because the Green-White Company deck doesn't pressure you.
Yeah,
it's not a very aggressive deck. It's looking to value you out of the game, I guess, as Todd Stevens would say, grind you into a pulp. So Maxwell wasn't able to do it that game. We'll see if he's able to do it here in game number 2 as these players do sideboard and shuffle up for that second game. We'll take a moment. Mention that StarCityGames.com weekly sale, where you can get up to 50% off select standard staples like Gideon, the Scorpion God, Heart of Kieran, and a whole bunch more over at go.starcitygames.com/weekly sale. Now, this one's going to end on Monday at 10:59 a.m. East Coast time, but we got a new one coming up for you on Monday at 11 a.m. East Coast time.
Huh.
What's that?
One ends at 10:59 and the other starts at 11? It's like you guys planned it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
what we're able to do with some good planning. Go.starcitygames.com/weekly sale. Make sure you just bookmark that link so you always got it ready for when we change that weekly sale to 11 a.m. East Coast time every Monday morning. For Ross Merriam, he's looking for top 8, number 19, Craig.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of those. Number 19 for the 28-year-old from Middletown, Connecticut. He's got 4 open wins. Number 5 would be pretty cool on the resume. Not a lot of people have those. Invitational top 8s, he's got 2. Thanks in part to his mastery of Elves in Legacy and also Storm in Legacy. He's a big Jeopardy fan, appeared on the show in July 2016. Big fan of eggs, big fan of the jazz.
Just apparently he's just a big fan of a lot of things.
He just likes things.
Yeah.
He just likes things, does Ross Merriam. He also likes Elves apparently in Modern now too. Was playing Dredge for a pretty long time, made the switch here this weekend. Not sure what led to the switch, but he's pretty happy that he made it. He's 8-1. He's in a very good matchup, and he's very likely to be 9-1 after the second game.
Yeah, he's in a good position here.
It's always nice when you play in a tournament, making a deep run. You're off to a great start. And you just get paired against a really favorable matchup.
Yep.
To maybe kick off your day or, round number 12, 13, something like that. And just across the table, it's like, oh, man, it's just really, really tough for me to lose this matchup. It's just always, at least to me, always pretty good. It just kind of won on the house.
Yeah.
That comes a little later in the tournament.
Yep.
Is always a good feeling. Now, it's not a lock that Ross wins. Mulligans can happen, mana screw, all of that stuff. But if things go like they went game 1, it's pretty good.
Yeah, and Modern is a format where we can get some really lopsided matchups. Standard, you say this is a good matchup. What does that mean? Is it 60-40?
Yeah, basically like that.
That's not insanely skewed. Obviously, it's pretty favorable, but that's not crazy.
Yeah.
In Modern, you can get some 80-20s.
Yeah.
Where, maybe it's more than that.
Yeah, this one feels very, very good for Ross, that's for sure. As we mentioned, Maxwell has 4 Path Exiles. That's really his only interaction, and he also doesn't put on a fast clock. So, there's not a ton that he can do, and the value towning that he is doing with Ghost Quarter and Courtier of Crufix and Tireless Track and all that stuff, Ross doesn't really care.
Yeah.
He doesn't really care. Maxwell going to take a look at 6 cards here.
What kind of an attitude is that to go through life with, Ross? Is just liking things?
Yeah, just being happy and enjoying things?
just like...
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Sports, food, playing Magic,
Jeopardy.
Like, come on, man.
Being on the show that you liked a lot.
Yeah, seriously, this is not...
Frown.
That's not the gamer lifestyle.
Frown. Be unhappy, Ross.
Seriously.
Getting essentially a bye in round 10. Frown.
Yeah, I bet he's happy about that, too.
Yeah, I'd be pretty happy.
If he walks by here later, he'll be smiling.
Maybe.
Just rubbing it in.
He's maybe. He's a glass case of emotion. He is. You'd be surprised.
Oh, and his opponent's going to 5 on the play. Ooh.
Mr. Run Goods over here. All right, he'll keep Will Paustian. Top card is going to... Looks like it's headed towards the bottom. Yes. Maxwell will start it up. He's got a Windswept Teeth. Pass it over to Merriam. I assume Ross has some sort of 1-drop. There's an Elvish Mystic.
It's just lucky.
Some guys, they just have all the luck.
Yeah.
Having a Mana Accelerator on turn 1. Maxwell's going to fetch out a Temple Guard and fall down to 19.
Yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So we've seen some, some matchups where each player looks like they're just goldfishing. They get to each do their own thing.
Yep.
But they were close.
Yes.
It was a race.
Yes.
This feels like they're each doing their own thing, and it's not a race at all.
I agree. I do agree. A second turn Elvish Archdruid here from Ross yet again. Looks a lot like the first game. A Mana Accelerant into another Mana Accelerant.
And it's just lucky.
Yeah, into what will be a pretty good turn 3, I imagine. It's Knight of the Reliquary, which is Maxwell's best card, as we head over to Ross.
Well, I guess that's lucky for Maxwell.
Yeah.
If he hit his best
There's
card.
luck all around for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's just luck flooded. Yeah. Cavern of Souls likely to name Elf here in just a moment. And now, he named Human this time. Oh, excuse me, Ross. He'll play a Deerwin's Elite, a Devoted Druid. He'll have an elf token coming from the elite. There it is. And he's got access to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana from the Archdruid.
That's a little Liam Lonergan?
That is Liam Lonergan,
Yeah.
our Season 2 Invitational champion.
I
in
love our
2016.
tokens, man.
They are pretty good. They are pretty good. Liam getting the job done with Elves in New Jersey last year in the modern portion of that Invitational. This is a Windswept Heath. A forest here from Maxwell. And we'll see what the follow-up is here in just a moment. And even though he has Knight of the Reliquary, which is a very, very good card in his deck, it can search up fetch lands, it can search up Ghost Quarter, Horizon Canopy, so on and so forth. Again, the big problem here is that a lot of those cards Ross does not care about. Ross cares about one thing, which is Azuri, and overrunning his opponent to death. And Maxwell just does not interact with that all that well. We'll see if he can maybe find the Warship. Unless he'll play a Courser of Crufix. That's a Horizon Canopy. We'll pass the turn back. I think we'll have a Eclectic Company here in just a moment. And we do. He has a mana floating, does Ross. Top 6 cards here. It is very unlikely for him to miss, given the construction of his deck.
Pretty tough.
Yeah. There is Azuri and a Scavenging Ooze. Path to Exile will take care of Azuri. So Ross will search up a forest. However, for Maxwell, I believe Ross has another Azuri in hand, which is not good news.
Yeah. Kind of bad news.
I'm firing off the obvious hits this morning, okay?
Yeah.
I'm getting going. I haven't had my chai yet. Got a little fruit cup here off to the side.
Big headline.
Yes.
Is Zuri coming?
Yes.
Bad news.
Bad news. Bad news. Oh, he also has a Court of Calling. Interesting. Heritage Druid. Bunch of green mana. That's a Court of Calling. Vizier of Remedies. It's almost like we watched this happen just a few moments ago. Where are you? Where are you? Infinite green mana. And now I play Azuri and you're dead. Ross Merriam wins this match here over Maxwell Paustian. 2-0. Elves is going to clobber Green-White Company. It's a horrible pairing for Maxwell. It's a great one for Ross. As Maxwell's going to fall down to 8-2, Ross Merriam's going to slide up to 9-1.